What unfolds when a courageous 7-year-old, a lemonade stand, and Clint Eastwood come together? An unforgettable tale awaits you. The summer heat lingered oppressively, creating a mirage on the pavement and prompting neighbors to seek refuge in the coolness of shade. In a tranquil suburban neighborhood of Santa Clarita, California, the rhythm of life unfolded slowly and steadily. The lawns stood impeccably manicured, sprinklers emitted a steady cadence, and the fragrance of newly mown grass blended seamlessly with the subtle hint of barbecue wafting from nearby homes. Yet for one little girl, this was far from an ordinary summer day. 7-year-old Emma perched on a tiny wooden stool, her feet just grazing the ground as she meticulously set up her lemonade stand. The scene was uncomplicated, featuring a folding table draped with a worn checkered cloth, a pitcher of lemonade glistening with condensation in the warmth, and a tidy stack of plastic cups arranged neatly to one side. The focal point was her handcrafted sign, a vibrant splash of color inscribed in striking, irregular letters, "Lemonade for Hope." Emma's resolve shone through in every aspect, from the careful adjustment of the sign to ensure its visibility from the street, to the radiant smile she offered to each car that passed by. Yet, what genuinely distinguished her was her sense of purpose. In contrast to her peers who set up lemonade stands to fund new toys or a day at the amusement park, Emma was driven by a much more urgent ambition. She was gathering funds for her chemotherapy treatments. No child should ever be put in such a position, yet Emma had encountered more challenges in her 7 years than many experienced throughout their entire lives. Nearly a year ago, she received a diagnosis of leukemia, leading to countless days spent in hospitals, facing tests, needles, and treatments that drained her strength and left her feeling nauseous. In the face of adversity, she steadfastly maintained her vibrant spirit. Claire, her mother, observed from the porch, her heart heavy with a blend of pride and sorrow. Emma's hair, which had once flowed long and golden, was now cut short, reflecting the impact of her treatments. There she stood, greeting each passerby with an enthusiastic wave, her big brown eyes shining with a determination that seemed to surpass her age. A jogger strolled past, casting a curious glance at the stand before waving and moving along. A vehicle decelerated momentarily before continuing on its way. Emma appeared unfazed. She effortlessly repositioned her sign, filled a petite cup with lemonade, and settled in to wait. Her initial client was a nearby resident, Mrs. Henderson, who approached with the aid of her cane. "What's the price for a cup, darling?" she inquired, her tone inviting. "$1, Emma said with a smile. Mrs. Henderson passed her a $10 bill. "Keep the change," she murmured, her gaze lingering on the phrase, "Lemonade for Hope." She gently patted Emma's hand before turning to head back home. Gradually, an increasing number of neighbors came to visit. Some purchased lemonade, while others casually tossed a few coins or bills into the mason jar marked for donations. With every exchange, a fresh surge of motivation washed over her, yet as the hours passed, it became evident that Emma's objective remained a distant dream. Yet Emma remained undeterred. Unbeknownst to her, today was destined to be the turning point, the moment when an extraordinary presence would enter her life and transform her modest stand into a shining symbol of hope. Emma's journey began in the most surprising manner. She had always embodied vitality, a spirited young girl who filled her days with barefoot runs across the yard, scaling trees, and pedaling her pink bike, the tassels dancing in the breeze on the handlebars. She was the type of child who brightened a room with her laughter, her imagination appearing limitless as she created enchanting scenes on bits of scrap paper. However, approximately a year ago, everything transformed. It started quietly, in exhaustion that made her unable to complete her bike rides, the need for frequent naps after school, and the mysterious appearance of small bruises. Initially, her parents believed it was merely a passing phase. "She's probably just growing," her dad Brian had said, but Claire couldn't help the tightening knot of worry that was forming in her chest. The fevers began to emerge, initially low-grade, but soon escalating, stubbornly refusing to subside. Emma's appetite faded, and she started to lose weight at a concerning pace. One day, Claire observed that Emma was having difficulty lifting her art supplies, her previously vibrant little girl now too fatigued to grasp a paintbrush for more than a few minutes. In that moment, she realized that something was profoundly amiss. Claire and Brian led Emma to the depths of despair. The waiting room carried a subtle scent of antiseptic, while the bright posters adorning the walls offered little relief from Claire's growing unease. Following a flurry of tests, blood draws, and an excruciating wait, the doctors stepped into the room, their expression revealing the truth they had dreaded. "Emma has leukemia," he said softly, as if gentler words could somehow soften the impact. Claire's universe appeared to shift. The term lingered in the atmosphere, dense and piercing. She grasped Brian's hand, her thoughts swirling with uncertainty and apprehension. What implications did this hold for Emma? How terrible was it? Were they able to cover the costs of the treatments? Initially, Emma struggled to comprehend the seriousness of the diagnosis, yet she sensed that something was amiss. Her parents endeavored to clarify in straightforward language, reassuring her that they would do everything possible to help her improve. Yet, as the weeks unfolded, the truth began to dawn. The hospital transformed into her second home, with the nurses becoming familiar figures in her life. She faced one round of chemotherapy after another, the grueling treatments weighing heavily on her frail frame. Claire remained steadfast by her side, gripping her hand during the darkest moments, softly murmuring words of comfort as Emma wept through the agony. Brian toiled for extended hours to manage the escalating medical expenses, the strain visible on his face as he endeavored to remain resilient for his family. Through every challenge, Emma maintained her vibrant spirit. She discovered delight in the small moments. A caregiver who shared light-hearted humor, an art book gifted by a friend, the soothing embrace of her cherished blanket. One evening, as she sat cross-legged on the living room floor, coloring while her parents conversed softly in the kitchen, she glanced up at her mom and asked, "What if I did something to help?" Claire knelt beside her, gently sweeping away a few remaining strands of hair from her forehead. "Could you clarify that for me, darling? What if I decided to sell lemonade?" Emma spoke, her tone brimming with a pure optimism that only a young heart could possess. "People enjoy lemonade, perhaps they'll purchase it to support me." Claire felt a constriction in her throat. The elegance of Emma's notion was simultaneously poignant and exquisite. She embraced her daughter tightly, her voice trembling as she replied, "That's a fantastic idea, sweetheart, we'll bring it to life." The following day, they dove into their tasks. Emma meticulously crafted a design for her sign, while Claire collected the necessary materials. The vivid hues and striking typography mirrored Emma's resolve. Even through the daily struggles she faced, she infused every detail with her passion, holding on to the hope that her modest efforts could create a significant impact. Unbeknownst to her, the lemonade stand would serve not just as a source of income, but as a catalyst for uniting her community in ways that were beyond anyone's expectations. On the following Saturday morning, Emma's vision of a lemonade stand became a reality. The sun ascended with grace, stretching its golden rays across the neighborhood, while Claire assisted Emma in arranging their setup in the driveway. Emma donned her beloved yellow sundress, the very one she claimed complemented her lemonade perfectly. A floppy straw hat cast a gentle shadow over her face, and despite the treatments that had rendered her pale and weary, her excitement infused her cheeks with a vibrant rosy hue. They unfolded the table and draped it with a checkered cloth that Claire had discovered in a storage box. The pitcher of lemonade, freshly crafted that morning with the perfect balance of sugar and lemons, sat elegantly in the center, beads of condensation beginning to adorn the glass. Beside it stood a tidy pile of plastic cups and a mason jar marked donations, the lettering done in Emma's unsteady yet resolute script. Emma cherished the sign above all else. She dedicated the entire week to it, employing markers and crayons to craft the phrase "lemonade for hope" in vibrant, bold letters. Underneath, she had sketched a vibrant yellow sun and a crimson heart, the sort that only a young artist could conjure, flawed yet overflowing with feeling. They positioned it carefully on a weathered easel, ensuring it caught the eye of anyone passing by. The initial hour passed in silence. A jogger went by, offering Emma a cheerful wave, yet continued on their way. A vehicle decelerated as it neared the booth, the operator casting a curious glance, yet it continued on its way. Emma appeared undeterred. She tilted her hat and filled a delicate cup with lemonade, savoring each sip as she lingered in anticipation. As the clock approached mid-morning, the initial customer made their entrance. An elderly woman named Mrs. Henderson, residing just 2 houses down, made her way to the stand, her cane gently tapping against the pavement with each careful step. "Good morning, Emma," she said, her voice soft and inviting. "Good morning, Mrs. Henderson," Emma said, her face brightening with joy. "Care for a refreshing glass of lemonade? Each cup is priced at $1. Mrs. Henderson beamed as she retrieved a $10 bill from her purse. "I would greatly appreciate some, darling. Feel free to keep the extra, all right?" Emma offered her a cup, her hands quivering just a bit. "Thank you very much," she expressed, her tone brimming with heartfelt appreciation. As Mrs. Henderson strolled away, additional neighbors started to gather. A young mother with a stroller paused to purchase a cup. A group of children from Emma's school arrived, pulling their parents behind them. They infused the stand with vibrant energy and laughter, engaging in animated chatter as they purchased lemonade and inquired about Emma's sign. "It's for my treatment," Emma stated plainly. Her sincerity was captivating, and frequently patrons would discreetly add an extra bill to the donation jar, moved by her bravery. By noon, the news had circulated. Vehicles started to come to a halt. Drivers paused to purchase lemonade and engage in conversation with Claire, who was comfortably settled in a lawn chair nearby. The aroma of freshly mowed grass mingled with the joyful sounds of children playing, yet the focus remained on Emma's stand. Emma's day truly brightened when Mr. Alvarez, the local mailman, made his arrival. He was a well-known figure, always ready with a quip or a thoughtful remark. On that day, he made his way to the stand wearing his familiar, bright smile. "What's the price for a cup, Emma?" he inquired, already reaching for his wallet. "It's $1, Emma said, pouring a cup and handing it to him. Mr. Alvarez took a sip, smacked his lips with flair, and declared, "This is the finest lemonade I've ever tasted. Here's $20. Continue doing great things, champ." Emma chuckled, her heart lifted with joy. After months of struggle, she finally sensed a shift within herself, transcending the identity of merely a girl fighting an illness. She was creating an impact, one cup of lemonade at a time. The crowd swelled gradually as the day progressed, and by mid-afternoon, the donation jar was nearing its capacity. Claire felt a surge of emotions as she observed her daughter engaging with neighbors and strangers, her confidence flourishing with every kind word and gesture. The day radiated a sense of victory, yet Emma remained blissfully unaware of the unfolding events that lay ahead. An unforeseen arrival loomed on the horizon, destined to alter the course of everything. The sun hung brilliantly overhead, its rays creating stark contrasts across the neighborhood as Emma filled another glass with refreshing lemonade. The donation jar brimmed with a delightful assortment of crumpled bills and loose change, glimmering in the warm afternoon light. The atmosphere buzzed softly with a vibrant spirit as neighbors drifted in and out, each leaving a little piece of themselves at Emma's stand. Emma, in spite of the sweltering heat, appeared completely unbothered. She tilted her straw hat, her delicate hands clutching the pitcher firmly as she attended to another customer. Claire sat in her lawn chair, a sense of pride swelling within her as she engaged in conversation with a neighbor, all the while keeping a watchful eye on her daughter. Suddenly, a figure from down the street drew Emma's gaze. A towering figure, clad in a worn leather jacket and dark denim, ambled steadily toward the stand. His movements were intentional, his posture at ease yet focused. With his sunglasses obscuring his gaze and his rugged features partly cloaked in shadow, he radiated a subtle assurance that caught the attention of passers-by. Emma squinted in his direction, her curiosity ignited. The man was unfamiliar, not one of the usual joggers or neighbors who frequently went by. He paused a short distance from the stand, surveying the arrangement with a subtle smile playing at the edge of his lips. "Greetings," Emma exclaimed cheerfully, her voice slicing through the soft murmur of the street. "Care for a refreshing glass of lemonade? It's just $1 for a cup." The man lowered himself a bit, placing his hands on his knees to align his eyes with hers. $1, is it? Looks like a good deal, he remarked, his voice low and rough, echoing the experiences of a life well lived. "What is the purpose of all this?" Emma gestured towards her sign, her delicate finger gliding over the vibrant letters. "A refreshing sip of optimism. It's for my chemo," she explained plainly, her tone straightforward yet infused with a subtle resilience. "I'm working to support my parents, easing their worries as much as I can." The man's demeanor became gentler. He cast a quick look at the donation jar before turning his gaze back to Emma. For a brief instant, he appeared to pause, contemplating his forthcoming action. At last, he delved into his jacket pocket and retrieved a checkbook. "What do they call you, darling?" he inquired, his pen hovering delicately above the page. "Emma," she responded, gazing up at him with wide eyes. "Well, Emma," he remarked, jotting something down on the check. "It's high time this lemonade stand received the acknowledgement it truly merits." He ripped the check from the book and presented it to her. Emma carefully opened the slip of paper, her delicate hands quivering just a bit as she scanned the number inscribed on it. Her eyes grew large and her jaw dropped in astonishment. This is $50,000, she exclaimed, her voice barely rising above a whisper. Claire, observing from afar, sprang to her feet. 50,000, she echoed, her voice quivering as she hurried to Emma's side. She cast a fleeting look at the man, her eyes filled with unshed tears. I'm at a loss for words. Expressing gratitude feels inadequate. The man grinned, his rough exterior easing into warmth. "You've already mentioned it," he responded. "This young girl right here is the one putting in the genuine effort." At that moment, a voice from the crowd softly questioned, "Hold on, is that Clint Eastwood?" The name spread among the small group, a spark setting dry leaves ablaze. As phones appeared, murmurs transformed into astonished breaths, and before long, all were straining to catch a clearer glimpse. Emma regarded him with a hint of intrigue. "Are you well-known or something?" she inquired, tilting her head slightly. Clint let out a soft laugh, bending down once more to meet her gaze. "A touch," he remarked, his voice playful. "But not as renowned as you will become, Emma." The audience chuckled gently, the strain of the situation dissolving into a comforting and authentic atmosphere. Clint extended his hand and softly touched Emma's shoulder. "Continue on your path, champ. The world would benefit from having more individuals like you." The donation jar brimmed with generosity, the check had been penned, yet the meeting was far from concluded. What Clint Eastwood had just accomplished was merely the start of the influence he would imprint on the world. The atmosphere crackled with excitement as the understanding dawned. The iconic Clint Eastwood was found at Emma's quaint lemonade stand. The news traveled swiftly through the assembled crowd, igniting a buzz of excitement as individuals leaned in to share hushed conversations, some capturing the moment with quiet snapshots or video recordings. Nevertheless, Clint appeared completely unbothered, his attention locked exclusively on Emma and her family. Emma gazed at the check in her hands, the prominent figure printed on it nearly too staggering to grasp. $50,000, she whispered, her voice quivering with a blend of astonishment and wonder. Claire knelt next to her daughter, her hands trembling as she carefully picked up the check to confirm what her eyes had already revealed. Her breath caught in her throat as tears cascaded down her cheeks. This is incredible," she said, her voice trembling. "This is hard to fathom." Clint smiled gently, his aged features exuding a serene warmth. "It's not about the money," he stated with a calm tone. "It's about demonstrating to this brave soul that she has support. She has already completed the challenging aspect. She simply required a gentle nudge." In perfect synchrony, the audience erupted into applause. Neighbors who had gathered to purchase lemonades started to move closer, motivated by the act they had just observed. The jovial mailman, Mr. Alvarez, was the first to voice his thoughts. "Emma," he remarked, extracting a $50 bill from his wallet. "I believe Clint has the correct approach. We'll ensure you have all the essentials at your disposal." The repercussions were swift and undeniable. One by one, individuals delved into their pockets and purses, retrieving whatever they could afford to part with. Some passed along $20 bills. Others tossed crumpled 5s and 1s into the donation jar, which was already overflowing. Some even presented checks they had prepared right then and there. Emma's stand, which had begun the day with a humble aim, now radiated an air of something remarkable. Claire struggled to maintain her composure, tears flowing as she expressed her gratitude to everyone who came forward. Emma, in that moment, stood behind her lemonade table, her expression radiating appreciation and a touch of amazement. "Does this imply that I no longer need to sell lemonade?" With a timid laugh, Emma glanced back at Clint, her eyes flitting away momentarily. Clint let out a hearty laugh, its rich resonance echoing through the crowd. "You don't have to, kid," he said, crouching down to meet her gaze once more. "Yet, I have a feeling you will continue to discover ways to illuminate the world just a bit more. That's simply your essence." The atmosphere crackled with a unique kind of hope, one that felt both rare and invaluable. A voice from the crowd called out for a group photo, and in no time, neighbors gathered closely, beaming with joy, with Emma and Clint standing proudly at the heart of it all. A local photographer captured the image, which would eventually gain widespread attention, symbolizing the profound impact a single act of kindness can have on an entire community. By the day's conclusion, the total contributions exceeded $10,000 in cash, excluding Clint's check. Emma's humble lemonade stand blossomed into a symbol of kindness, inspiring the finest qualities in all who visited. Yet Clint had more to say. As the crowd started to thin, he leaned in toward Claire and murmured softly, "I have some friends who would like to lend a hand as well." It wouldn't be unexpected to receive communication from them in the coming days. Claire, still feeling the weight of her emotions, nodded, her voice trembling as she said, "Thank you. Your impact on our lives has been profound." Clint raised an invisible hat in a gesture of respect and rose to his feet, speaking to the small group that remained. He remarked, "You have a truly remarkable young lady here. Look after her and continue to support one another." With that, he pivoted and strode away, his leather jacket glinting in the waning afternoon light as he faded into the distance. The community observed his departure, the gravity of the recent events sinking into their souls. Yet, the tale had not reached its conclusion. The influence of Clint's kindness and the wave it created was poised to extend well beyond this quaint suburban lane. In the aftermath of Clint Eastwood's surprising appearance, Emma's lemonade stand transformed into a sensation, captivating the attention of Santa Clarita and eventually the whole nation. Images and clips of the incident captured by nearby residents and circulated on social media rapidly gained widespread attention. Media sources highlighted the tale with headlines celebrating the young girl's grand aspirations and Clint's kind gesture. The sight of Emma beaming in front of her lemonade stand, adorned with a vibrant sign and a dazzling smile, captured the affection of all who passed by. Initially, Claire and Brian found themselves taken aback by the unexpected spotlight. Unexpected visitors began arriving at their doorstep, bringing gifts, blooms, and heartfelt notes for Emma. The mailbox of the family brimmed with envelopes, a multitude of which held checks and uplifting letters. A handwritten note from a young boy in Kansas said, "Dear Emma, I came across your story and felt compelled to assist. I may not have much to give, but I truly hope these $2 can create some impact. Your courage is truly admirable. With affection, Charlie." 8 years old. Emma felt a profound sense of emotion. She meticulously tucked the letter into a shoebox she had begun to fill with all the cards and notes she received, adamantly telling her mom that they should preserve each and every one. "These individuals are assisting me," she remarked one evening as she meticulously arranged the letters. "I wish to keep them in my memory." Yet, the narrative transcended mere inspiration for individuals. It drew the interest of nearby enterprises and philanthropic organizations. A local hospital contacted us, extending their support to cover any outstanding medical expenses that Emma's family may encounter. A well-known lemonade brand gifted her a year's worth of their product, accompanied by a sincere note. "Emma, your courage brings to light the beauty of existence. Continue to ignite inspiration across the globe." Claire and Brian observed with wonder as their previously insurmountable weight started to ease. The hospital bills that had hung over their lives like a dark cloud were now being settled gradually thanks to the kindness of unknown benefactors. It extended beyond mere financial assistance. Support from the community came in abundance, with numerous offers for meals, transportation, and childcare. The impact of Clint's act of kindness reached far beyond their small community. Motivated by Emma's journey, other kids started establishing their own lemonade stands, contributing the earnings to nearby hospitals and cancer organizations. A movement started to emerge as the hashtag #HideLemonade4Hope gained traction across social media platforms. Narratives flowed in from every corner of the nation. Children collecting funds for their cherished ones, neighborhoods uniting in support, and even famous personalities coming forward to contribute in Emma's honor. Amidst the spotlight, Emma stayed grounded. One evening, while she sat on the living room floor with her parents, sorting through another pile, she looked up and asked, "Do you think we can help other kids like me? Perhaps we could embark on a grander endeavor." Her words ignited a thought. With the additional resources they had gathered, Claire and Brian assisted Emma in launching the Lemonade for Hope Foundation, a project committed to aiding families facing the financial burdens of medical treatments. The mission of the foundation was straightforward. Every child deserves the chance to focus on their health without the burden of financial concerns looming over them. The foundation made its debut subtly, yet it soon captured attention. In just a matter of weeks, contributions started flooding in from across the globe. Schools set up lemonade stand fundraisers, businesses committed to matching donations, and other communities drew inspiration from Emma's story to launch their own local initiatives. One day, Emma found herself in possession of a package sent by none other than Clint Eastwood. Within the confines of the frame lay a cherished photograph of the pair at her lemonade stand, accompanied by a heartfelt handwritten note. "Keep pushing forward, you're creating positive change in the world." Emma's eyes glimmered as she read the note aloud, her voice unwavering even as the feelings surged within her. "I want to make him proud," she whispered, holding the note close to her heart. What began as a modest lemonade stand evolved into a remarkable movement, demonstrating that even the tiniest gestures of goodwill can transform into something truly extraordinary. For Emma and her family, the journey transcended the kindness they had experienced. It embodied the fresh hope they were now able to extend to others. Months after that unforgettable day, life appeared somewhat transformed for Emma and her family. The persistent anxiety that had marked Claire and Brian's expressions began to fade, giving way to a relief they hadn't experienced in more than a year. The burdensome medical bills had finally lifted, thanks to the kindness of neighbors, strangers, and a renowned actor who had come to their aid in their time of need. Emma's health, though still a journey, was on the mend. Her treatments persisted, yet with the financial strain alleviated, the family could concentrate on providing her with emotional and physical support. Emma's spirit shone brilliantly, and her lemonade stand transformed into a treasured memory, cherished not only by their family but by all who had shared in that extraordinary day. Yet, the tale continued beyond that point. Emma's foundation, Lemonade for Hope, blossomed beyond all expectations. A humble act of generosity has transformed into a widespread phenomenon across the nation. Across the nation, schools came together, organizing Lemonade fundraisers and imparting lessons on the significance of kindness. Organizations committed to matching contributions, and families who had previously faced challenges with medical costs started to benefit from Emma's initiative. The young girl who once perched on a stool in her driveway had transformed into a beacon of inspiration for countless individuals. She emerged as a beacon of strength and kindness, a testament to the idea that even the quietest voices can resonate profoundly across vast distances. One day, at a local event honoring the foundation's achievements, Emma took to a small stage, gripping the microphone with slightly trembling hands yet brimming with assurance. The audience, a blend of locals, helpers, and enthusiasts, observed as she inhaled deeply and started her address. "Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you," she said, her voice unwavering and articulate, a remarkable quality for someone so young. "When I launched my lemonade stand, my primary goal was to support my mom and dad. I never expected that so many would show concern, yet here you are. Now we have the opportunity to assist other children who share my experiences. I appreciate your faith in me." The applause resonated like a storm, and as Emma withdrew from the microphone, Claire enveloped her in a warm embrace, murmuring, "You've made me so proud." In the shadows of the gathering, largely overlooked by the throng, stood Clint Eastwood. Clad in a laid-back jacket and a baseball cap, he observed with a subtle smile, his hands comfortably nestled in his pockets. He sought neither acclaim nor spectacle. He was present to subtly honor the young girl who transformed a modest gesture of kindness into a powerful catalyst for change. As the event came to a close, a reporter inquired of Emma what insights she had gained from the entire experience. She paused briefly, her response straightforward yet deeply meaningful. "I discovered that regardless of your size, there is always a way to contribute and make a difference. When individuals come together to support one another, extraordinary outcomes can unfold." Her response transformed into a powerful call to action for the foundation, a sentiment that struck a chord with individuals far and wide. Accounts emerged of children motivated by Emma to initiate their own small gestures of goodwill, ranging from bake sales to car washes, all aimed at illuminating the world just a touch more. The family always remembered the moment that transformed their lives, the day a man in a leather jacket paused at their lemonade stand and recognized the passion behind a humble sign. As Emma's tale unfolded, it served as a beacon, reminding all that even amidst the shadows, compassion and optimism could illuminate the path ahead. If this narrative resonated with you, pause for a moment to consider how you might create an impact, regardless of how minor it may appear. Pass along this tale, uplift another, and keep in mind that each gesture of goodwill, whether grand or modest, can create waves in ways you may never foresee. If you're interested in more tales like Emma's, be sure to subscribe for additional narratives filled with hope, bravery, and the essence of humanity.